Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of Uomo. This is Uomo 5. And I sound funny because it's the ultra Uomo. So we call it Uomo. This is
We gotta
the
work. We
second
gotta work on that,
installment
man.
of the book. What was the book again?
In praise of slowness.
In Praise of Slowness. So this is the second installment, the second episode, the second reflection on that book.
Yeah. So just a quick recap of the book. It's called In Praise of Slowness: The Challenging the Cult of Speed by Carl Honor. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's talking about how going slow is, a good thing, basically. And when you slow down, good things happen, even though it seems like life is all about speeding up. This is a book about balance, really. I mean, this is a book about finding your balance and finding, that speed, your tempo giusto, like we talked about in the first one,
Hmm.
finding that right speed where you can go and stay consistent and stay in it, not fall apart, but at the same time, like, so keep enduring, right? Keep pushing forward.
Sounds
And it's
familiar.
just it does, yeah. It's just a book that's praising slowness, and praising not running for trains and praising, taking your time and making sure you're doing the right thing for the right reasons and for the, all that good stuff. The My dad is calling me right now and I don't know why. Uh, can you give me one tiny second?
Okay.
Hang on. Yeah. Okay, we're back. All right. Sorry. My dad didn't need anything important, so it's good. Um yeah, so this book, like we talked about, it's just an ode to slowing down and finding your balance and finding your own tempo giusto, right? This particular reflection is titled "Take a Siesta." So the first one was about finding your tempo giusto. This one's about taking a siesta. So I started this one off with, do you remember those 5 hour energy commercials? You've had a 5 hour energy before, right?
Lots, yes.
Okay, all right. So do you remember those commercials they used to have where it was like, what do you do when that 2:30 feeling hits? And it's like,
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about? All right.
Yeah.
The it was brilliant advertising because we all know what that 2:30 feeling feels like when you're at work, you're grinding away, you just, you've been working all day, you just get back from lunch, your body's processing food or whatever it may be, you just hit this wall like around, like, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, where you're just like stare at the clock and you're like, God, like, is this day over? Like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do anything else. Like, I'm just exhausted, blah, 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 blah. And of course, like, what do? We do we go for a cup of coffee? Do we, chug another Red Bull? Do we, I don't know, take some Adderall or take some other drug, illicit drug or some stimulant or whatever? Or, as 5 hour energy suggests, like, take a 5 hour energy, right?
Hmm.
And kick that 2:30 feeling, right? And be able to go all the rest of the day. Well, I think we all know what happens after you do that, and I don't know if you're anything like me. I would chug a cup of coffee, I would drink a Red Bull, I would, drink water, whatever it was, something to like stimulate me or whatever. Nothing ever worked. I mean, like, it just, I don't know about you, but it never brought me out of that funk in the middle of the day.
Now you're in a
And
hot place in a rock. I mean,
Right, right.
it's like
Like,
it's like you're so tired, but you can't even go to sleep.
no, you can't. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like it's like I'm just in this state of really like
it's like,
agitation. It's like
yeah, and
but it's like you're in the hot place in a rock. It feels like that, and it's
right.
like it's double whammy for you
It's
because
horrible.
the other the if you didn't take the 5 hour energy and you're at the 2:30 mindset is like, oh, you if you feel tired, right? And you can say, well, it feels so good to doze off, right? But
Right,
when you take it, it's like you feel just horrible.
right.
Like in every second, like you can't
I feel
sleep
horrible.
and you can't work either. It's not like you
Right.
can concentrate because your body can't, you don't have enough capacity to go and process this information, and you try to, you're trying to focus, and then the other five energy won't let you go to sleep, so you can't even like
It's worse.
take a chill pill. I mean, it's
No,
like, to me, looking back at it, it's probably the dumbest thing I've ever done.
it's really dumb. Like, but it's not just you that's causing this to happen. It's all of your, like, when we used to have to go into the office, like,
Hmm.
everybody around you, like, you can't just go, hey, I'm gonna go check out, for like another hour or so or whatever. Like, you just can't do it. You have to fake being busy, or you got to keep doing stuff. You're not doing it well. I think there was some study, I didn't write about this, but I think there was some study that showed like judges make like horrible decisions when they either right before lunch or right after lunch, because they're either because they're so tired and exhausted versus the decision making they make early in the day or like, later in the day when they're wrapping things up or whatever. Like it affects your judgment, it affects your time, it affects your performance, but like here's the thing is nobody cares about that because they think just keeping going and pushing forward, is the way to go, right? That's what we're taught. That's embracing the suck. That's, that's doing the things you hate the most first. That's eating the frog. That's whatever the other bullshit that somebody else wants to say. It's like, just keep going. And,
Yeah, I mean, somebody, one day had a eureka moment and said, "Hey, you know what? We should make everybody work, and it's like a battery. We don't need to be charged, blah blah." And then they put it on some internet and some gossip column, and then people eat it up like shit. It's like, I mean, this is a way that society has comes to. They don't validate what they hear. They just take it as is, and they go through with it, and eventually it becomes the norm. It's like, how stupid are we to just to take thing at face value and make it a part of our life, and
make it our reality. Like
we become the suckers. Not only that we become the suckers of these like idiotic schemes, we actually become the enforcer too. Because like, let's say you go to work, right, and you see somebody is like lacking in the office and sleeping and trying to recuperate. You go always say, you know what I mean? And you always say, you can't do
like,
that.
what the fuck are you doing, man? You can't do that.
So that's what I'm saying. We become the enforcer of these, idiotic concepts that some idiot one day just happens to come into his head and start yelling it out, and people say, "Oh, that sounds good." Like you go and you see all these what you call those sayings on social media and Twitters and whatever. Right. It sounds really good, but it doesn't mean shit. Like the golden rule. Like I told you,
right?
The golden rule to me is kind of stands out because it probably harm humanity more than most, just because it sounds good, but it's actually it's very bad. Same thing with communism, right? Communism, it sounds good, but in practice, it's bad because the thing is, if you practice communism as the idea, then it's good. But the way it's practiced in reality, it just allows the guys in charge to be able to bend the rules for themselves, right? It allows,
because that's 100% B philosophy. We're not 100% Bs. We are 90% chimp, 10% B. Right, like I mean, they want you to be 90% B and 10% chimp in a communist society.
But my point
that's not who we are.
The most like the good sounding of a verse or a phrase, right, is probably the worst thing for you, right? The better it sounds to you, it's probably the worst it's gonna affect you. Like I'm talking about the golden rules, right? It affects you a lot. I'm talking about the idea of socialism and communism, right? It is very, very prevalent, right? Because it's like half of the world is communist.
Right.
Okay. So that affects a lot of people, but it sounds really good. But because you're from this side of the track looking over, you can see the thing that they can't see from themselves. Just like I can't see myself because I can't see, what true looks like unless I look into the mirror. But even then, I don't have other angles on the views. But when you from another third person looking in, you see more of my flaws than I would ever see. So that's the thing is the better something sounds, it's probably gonna make the worst impact for you.
Agreed.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a lot of these saying is continuously going to create that little as long as it's catchy, like it sounds good, it's catchy. Like you talk about 5-hour energy, right? It's catchy. Right. Get through that slump at 2:30 slump, and everybody catching
it's like daycare, right? It's like, hey, your kid's gonna get sick at daycare. You're like just power through it or figure out more ways to give them antibiotics as soon as they get a pink eye or whatever norovirus or what keep pushing more drugs into them and send them back into school because this is the way that it is. And you're like, no. That's not natural. That's not what you're supposed to do. Like your body is telling you something. Your elephant is telling you something, and we're just like, nope, didn't see it. Give me some stimulant, some drug. Let's go market it. Let's go, let's get people back in the, and keep them doing the stuff that is affecting us really,
get
really
them
bad.
back into
Get,
the
get
robotic
back into the
routine,
bad
right?
shit. Yeah, right. Throw them right back into the pit. You know what I mean? Like they don't need to get out. Just keep going. Keep
Yeah,
embracing
they
that
don't need to
suck.
recover.
I mean,
Who needs to recover?
it's
Go work.
it's
Like
it's mind blowing what we do to ourselves. But like, actually, what the irony of all ironies is, I've worked at a high tech company since 2008 or 2009, and uh, every one of the companies that I've worked at. So I've worked at Angie's List, HC1, Salesforce, and now OSF Digital. Besides OSF Digital, because it was a completely remote company, because now it was pandemic. Every one of the companies that I worked at, when we had to be in the office, do you know what they had in the office?
a wellness room.
A nap room. They had a nap room.
Nap? But anybody take a
For
nap?
anybody to take a nap. Do you know how
But
many
did
people I
anybody
ever
take a nap?
saw? Did you know? I was gonna say, do you know how many people I ever saw taking a nap?
None.
Zero. I tried it like 3 different times while
You know why?
twice.
You know why?
Because it would be frowned upon. People would be like, "What are you doing? You can't just go take a nap in the nap room."
That's why I'm
You know?
saying this. The enforcer is the people who like I said, you not only like fell victims to these shenanigans,
Right.
but you also become the enforcers of these shenanigans.
It was insane. At Angie's List, they had like these completely darked out nap rooms, in like the basements of buildings that nobody ever even went in. Like, I mean, it was like in really isolated buildings, but like blah blah. There was a couple times where I was so tired from whatever reason, I was like, I gotta go over there, and I would try. And the entire time that I was sitting in that room, I was freaked out. I was like, oh my god, somebody's gonna see me just come in here, sit in here.
I think I think that they did it on purpose, right? Because you think you're talking about like the unlimited PTO, right? You know why they did that, and
you don't take it.
You know where they put this?
They don't have to pay you afterwards.
Where do they put the nap room?
It's pretty public. I mean, you got to walk in
the most public space possible that people can see you going. So
right. Well,
that's
actually,
it's like I'm fucking going green. It's like, oh, I care for the planet. The moment you say you care for the planet, right? You don't care for the planet. If you care for the planet, you just do it. You don't say, "Oh, I care for the planet."
Right.
You think about it. If a person cares about the planet, they don't go out and say, "Look at me, I'm caring about the planet, and blah blah blah. I saved the turtle." It's like, no, you're not saving the fucking turtle. You standing on the street yelling at people. If you care for the planet, then you go the turtles. I'm not saying that there's no people who cares about the planet, but the guy who says it is probably the farthest guy from caring about the planet than the guy who is just like randomly on the street. So the thing is, when they put in this nap room, right? They put it in the most public
place
right next
to the bathrooms. It's right. They were right next to the bathrooms at Salesforce.
Exactly.
Like so.
It's not the thing is Salesforce is not the only one, right? Every other company does it, and it doesn't follow the same trend because there's a reason for it.
Well, in theory, they want you to actually take that midday siesta. In theory, but
no,
that's not their actual culture.
They just want quote unquote to say, "Oh, I fucking care for my employees. I fucking care for their balances. I fucking care for their well-being. They don't forget about you. Hey, Ohana, right? And they fire you whenever they say, "Oh, we only make $50 billion. We didn't make 55, so we didn't make 51 billion, so we're gonna have to let you go.
We gotta cut our Ohana
so that we can make from 50 to 51, so we can satisfy the investors, right? That is a quote unquote, oh, I care for your employee, the Ohana shit. This is what gets me. It's because they don't want you. They just want to be like, oh, I'm in this caring business for you, and you should go work extra for me, blah blah. Same thing with all these companies that goes to unlimited PTO, and say, oh, you should take your PTO, but you need to get permission from your manager.
Yeah, you don't even.
And your manager say, well, we can't. I mean, and the thing is, statistically,
you take far less. You take far less.
Statistically, they take far less. That's the reason why they offered it, not because they say, well, I want to give people more.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I'm gonna take a month off. Yeah, sure, go ahead. You can't fucking take
no managers has ever told me or told you to go take a days off because they think you deserve it. I mean, even you work with
I
young.
have. I actually have. I've told employees to do that. And I mean it. And I did it. I made them do it. Like, I mean, I 100% have done that personally. But I also,
But you're not but you don't
I'm
give a
not
shit about the company.
exactly. That's like I was not a good manager either at these places
I
because,
mean,
like,
you are unemployable. I
right,
mean,
I am. Well, actually,
you're
so
not a
I
company man, so
no,
it doesn't
no, in no
count.
way, shape, or form. In no way, shape, or form is that actually a good example because I did what I wanted to do that I thought was right. Actually, ironically, so uh, I have two funny stories about that. First off, the nap room was right next to the meditation room, so they're right across the hall from each other, right at the bathrooms at Salesforce Towers and every Salesforce Tower. So the little meditation room had like these little pillows and stuff set up everywhere, or whatever. You know what I did in the meditation room? I would go in there regularly. You know why?
You didn't sleep?
Nope.
Why?
Why? Why do you think I went in there?
In the meditation room?
Yeah, I went in there. I actually went in there pretty regularly.
I don't know, to meditate.
Nope.
No. So what do you do now? I mean, you don't meditate,
To,
don't
ta- to,
sleep.
ta- to take to take phone calls because like all the fucking conference rooms were always booked, and I was like, oh, nobody's ever in the meditation room, so I can just go in there and go take a phone call, and nobody will ever even care because nobody's gonna go in there. So I would it was an always open conference room that I could always go in that nobody was ever in. So I would just be like, oh, good, I'll just go slip off
So
into the meditation room.
yeah, I mean that's the thing, there's so much fluff in our life that it's completely sometimes it's so comical to
Yeah,
see,
no,
hey,
I agree.
meditation room is used for used for a phone call room, like phone call booth, right? I mean, you can't even call people and be able to have some quiet time to even think of how to talk to the other person on the line. You put yourself in these fucking cubicles where it's loud
Yeah.
as hell, right? And you're picking
Oh
the
no,
phone
actually,
and
at Salesforce, it was quiet as hell. Everybody went into a call booth. So every single call booth that was in the around. So the way that Salesforce was set up was um, uh, it was like all these desks. They were called Ohana seating, right?
Mhm.
So we didn't have assigned desks. It was you had a little cubby hole, and then you had like your little shit that you would that give you like a little tote bag basically, right? So then every night you would take all your shit, put it in your little tote bag, and you go put it into your little cubby hole, right? And then the next day when you got in, you would go grab your tote little thing and you go pick whatever desk you wanted to go pick in the Ohana seating area, right? Well, the thing is everybody that was in these large open spaces with everybody, Salesforce's culture is not like a boiler room call center. It's very much so like you're not actually doing a lot of selling. Most of it is usually meetings where you're meeting about with other people. Like I mean that's really what you're
Sounds
doing most of the
dreadful.
time.
Sounds dreadful to
No, it's
me.
horrible.
Meetings about
It's
me.
horrible. It's beyond horrible. You rarely are actually getting to sell anything. So when you actually get a chance to have a conversation with a client or something that you don't want other people to hear, you can't really take it out on the main floor where everybody's working because it's really you're the only person talking, and it's fucking bizarre to have like 30 people around you listening to your only conversation and you're the only one that's talking, right, while you're on a computer. You can't be yourself. You can't be open. It's not it is horrible, right? Like versus Angie's List world, everybody was on the phones all day long and it was like just this constant buzz of noise around you. So I didn't
Mhm.
care. Like I could say whatever I wanted to say to any customer or person I was on a Zoom call with or phone call with or whatever. I didn't nobody gave a shit, there because that was the culture of actually being on the phone. But Salesforce, it was quiet as shit out on the floor. So everybody would go book a conference room or book a little call booth room, right? So all day long, all the conference rooms that surrounded the main floor around in every Salesforce tower are
It's filled.
always fought over. It's filled and it's being fought over by every employee so they can go in and actually have a quiet space to have a fucking conversation where they can feel like they can talk the way that they want to talk with somebody. So that's
Mhm.
why I went into the meditation booth because all those goddamn rooms were always it was always a fight to go get a fucking room. So I was like, well, nobody's going to meditate. So hey, that's why I was there, right? So that's what actually happens in these rooms, right? That's what it actually is like to work at a company like this. And not only that, my time at HC1, comical because it was a small company and they did want to promote a culture of play and have fun and and enjoy yourself, but at the same time work hard, play hard, whatever. So they had like this awesome little bar area that they had built in the in one of the sections of the company, and in that area they had like a basketball, large net you could shoot at or whatever, and then you had like this ping pong table out there and play. And obviously, you know me, I love paddle sports, right? All fucking paddle sports. So when you could let me play ping pong all day long, I'll fucking play ping pong all day long. And I kicked everybody's ass at that company, and I was like the dominant player in the entire building, right? Well, I remember like one point in time, talk about your midday slump. Whenever I would hit that midday slump with my team, I would say, "Hey, you guys want to go play ping pong?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So my team would always be out there with just me and my team. We'd just be fucking crushing game after game after game after game when we got tired in the middle of the day. I remember somebody walked through the back garage area where this like area was, and they like complained about they're like Chris and his team are always out there fucking playing ping pong in the middle of the day. They're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, why is this goddamn thing here? Or is it just fucking show? Like, why did you fucking put a ping pong table in the middle of the fucking building and then say, guys, go have fun. Make sure you have some time, spend some time on it. Then you're gonna complain about it? Like, then you're gonna get mad at me about it?
It's for show only, man. It's for show only. You didn't get the memo.
It doesn't stop there.
That's why you didn't get very far in the company, man. You didn't get the
no,
memo.
I actually did get far in that company because the owner of the company.
No. I believe you would have gotten farther, much farther.
Oh yes, yeah, right.
Right. So you have gotten far, but based on what case they needed you, but you would have gotten farther if you
for sure, yeah.
Read the memo.
Yeah, I mean for sure. Like, wait a minute, Chris, don't use the ping pong table. That's insane. What are you doing?
Only
like,
for show, Chris.
Yeah.
You missed the memo. It's only for show.
They had a workout room in this facility too. Nobody ever used it. I was the only one, I think, that was ever in there, like toward the end of the workday or something like that. Also, here's another fun story about the same company. So they gave you 4 private trainer sessions at this facility across the street from them. It's called personal fitness training, right? So they contracted out, they paid for every single employee. I think there was about 110 employees we had at this company. Every single employee had the ability to do at least 4 personal training sessions a month that they would just bill back to the company, and that was that, right? So it's a free personal trainer across the street from the facility whenever you want it, right? You know, and you can go do it anytime. And they encourage this. This is a part of their values they wanted to preach, right? You know, this was an important thing. This is how the culture they wanted to build in this organization. Well, fun story about this one. So because of who I am, I'm very consistent and I like to do these things. So I would do 2 sessions with my trainer. I'd get my 1 free sessions a week, and I would do 1 that I would pay for myself. So I would go, I think it was every Tuesday and Friday, right? And it was on my calendar every single Tuesday and Friday at 11 o'clock. And I would leave at 10:30 at my desk. I would go my session at 11. I would go get done at about 11:45. I would get cleaned up. I would go get some food, and I'd be back by 1 o'clock. So I would leave at like 10:45, something like that, and I'd be back by 1 o'clock. And this was like built into my schedule. It was my workout time. I was go with my trainer that they were paying me to go do. Well, after this one particular deal that I sold when I worked at this company, it was the customer like orientation call was going on Friday at 11 o'clock, and the client success manager who was doing this orientation of this new customer that I just sold and brought on board to whatever was like, hey, Chris, everybody's schedule on my team is available on Friday at 11 o'clock, you know, and the customer's available then, but we need you on the call, even though you don't really have to do anything on the call, but we, you know, can you, it looks like you have your training session booked on your calendar at that time. You know, can you miss that one? And I go, no, I can't miss it. Like, I mean, if I cancel it, they charge me, number one, and number two,
I blocked it for
it's blocked off, and it says, yeah, it says that's what I'm doing. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm like, find another time, or I just won't come, you know. Like, so she goes, oh, okay, that's fine, that's fine. This girl's like really nice. Her name is Chrissy, and she's like really nice, and whatever. Well, they just hired this new VP of sales at the company, and it started like 2 weeks before. This guy was like a fat slob. Like, he would eat, like he would go, he indulged in the free food all day long in the cafeteria that we had, and he was always eating, you know, M&Ms and whatever fucking thing. And he's like this big fat dude that would, like, you know, like act like a fucking asshole all the time, treated people like garbage. Like, it was horrible how he treated people. Like, I mean, I don't even get into it. The guy was the worst cultural hire ever, but the CEO hired him for a very particular reason, because he had a very niche skill set that he needed to exploit in that particular time and of that company. The guy only lasted a short period of time because he was a horrible hire and everybody knew it. But like, anyway, this guy walks into the guy calls me into his office, like, after he'd been there for about a month, and this was like the week before, and the CSM had voiced some feedback. to him about, hey, just want to let you know, like Chris wasn't able to make this call or whatever about. So he's like, hey Chris, I want to talk to you. And he like pulls me in. He's like, hey, you can't shirk work responsibilities to like go to your workout sessions. And I go, I'm sorry, what? And he goes, yeah, Chrissy told me like, they were trying to organize whatever. And he was like, I just want to let you know, like that's not appropriate, And I was like, I'm sorry, what, like what? Like, and I listened to this guy talk, blah, 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 blah. And this is no joke. Like Salesforce had already had been recruiting me to lead this company anyway. And like they had already offered me a job. I wasn't even really considering it, to be honest with you. I only interviewed there just because I was trying to be nice. And this guy was such an asshole. He'd only been there for a month. I'd been there for 4 years. Like I'd already, he was a horrible boss already, and I could already tell. And then he pulls me in and he says this shit. I shit you not. I walked two offices down to the VP of HR, and I was like, I don't think I can work with this guy. I'm just being honest with you. I think I'm going to put in my 2 weeks right now. And she goes, what are you talking about? And I just like, he clearly doesn't understand the culture that you guys are trying to do here. Like this is you're telling me to go do this stuff, and then he's telling me to not do this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do, but I've seen enough of this guy in the 4 weeks that he's been here that like I don't want anything to do with them going forward. It's going to be a disaster. And I was like, and I can't expect you to fire him. You just hired this guy. He's a senior VP you just hired for this role. And I was like, I think I'm gonna back out of this one, and I'm just gonna walk out. And like the VP of HR was like, there's nothing I can do. Like she was like, what are you talking about? Because I was in a really
there's something you can do. You fire his ass.
Right. So like this is no joke. This is how I left this company, and it was because of this situation. So talk about like these companies. I
mean, you bring in somebody who is toxic. It's going to make people leave. I mean,
it did. I mean, a ton of people left this dude.
You're going to jeopardize the company because the people you recruit, not only recruit but train for a number of years. That is a long time to train somebody, and you just bring in somebody just because you need somebody
doesn't understand your culture,
and you put them over somebody. It's just like for me, it's like I come in there, I can do everything you need to do, but you bring in some dumbass manager, usually a C student, to come in and tell me how to do my job, right? So the thing is, when I work for a company, is the managers are afraid of me. So every time they talk to me, they have to have 2 managers talking to me. Right?
That's hilarious.
They don't dare speak to me one-on-one. Every time they do something, have to have 2 managers. Like performance review, 2 managers. Like anything they want to tell me, there's 2 managers because they're afraid of me. But I get to the point where I'm so like pissed off at how somebody would bring somebody who is so idiotic to come and tell me what I should do and what I should not do. Right?
I totally agree.
I'm here to I make the company, I put the company interest at heart, and they say, well, if I work for the company, if they pay me, I want to give them the value they pay for, and that's what I want to do. So don't try to make it harder for me to do that. And so I mean, but like I said, for me, I have a reputation like that, and managers unless you're like you consider it, you understand. Let me do what I need to do. Just call me and say, okay, don't hire me and tell me what to do. If not, if that's the case, then you hire someone else because you're overpaying. That's what I tell them. Look, you're overpaying. If you are telling me what to do, because there's no point in telling me what to do. And so
no, that's really fun. I can totally believe that. That is not who I am.
And you know me, right? I don't have a large set of vocabulary. So I told exactly what I tell you is what I told them. Very bluntly. Like I don't like this, I don't like that, right? And I would tell you, if you tell me what to do, then you're overpaying. You need to hire someone else, right?
Agreed.
And to me, it's like and I also told them, like, look, if you need to be straightforward with me, right? If you need to get someone else, I understand. Just let me know. Like, just let me know. I told him, just let me know. I don't want to be to come as a surprise and somebody call me and say, hey, today's your last day, right? I mean, the thing is, if I give you 2 weeks, you need to give me 2 weeks, right? That's what I expect. If you want to give me, if you ask me for a month, I'll give you a month. But you need to tell me. These guys like scared of me like shit. Like, so even though I told him this many times, the with COVID and stuff like that, hey, somebody called me at at 9 a.m. and say, well, we can't afford your position anymore. I was like, shit, I just told you, let me know. But no, it's just I mean, these people, what I don't even know what value they bring to the company as this
They don't.
middleman from hey, I'm this managers and I'm going to manage the teams. You don't
They
manage
don't.
shit.
They keep the beehive, the 90%, beehive in line with the beehive.
But they
Try to
can't.
they try to
They cannot keep the guy who isn't like they cannot keep an A player. Right? A C
well
managers can only keep like a B at best, a B player.
that's not totally true. It's just you need to find an A player that's also a B. Like a B is in like like they need to find an A player that's also like a bumblebee, right? That has that personality.
That's rare
because they definitely exist. It is
That's
rare, but they definitely
It's
exist.
rare.
Right?
So the thing is, you think about
If you want somebody to be a problem solver or troubleshooter, dealing with ambiguity, entrepreneurial, like that's not what. When you ask for that personality, and then you want them to be
like, how many A players
B?
are there out there?
Right. I don't know what you.
There's a low. It's a smaller percentage of A players out there among the B players and among the C players. C players probably make up the majority of the percentage, and then you have
that's
the
what
C
majority
players,
companies are.
and then the B player, and then the A player is like you're talking about top 10%.
Right.
And then to get inside the top 10%, that an A player is also a B, but with B, the B mentality. No, it's like the albino of the alligator.
I don't know. I don't know that it's that rare, but like But to your point though, like a B plus player is probably.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You go take a poll of all the guys who is at a company works for one company for their entire career. How many people do you know that work for a company for one company their whole life up until now?
Me personally, since I'm a millennial in my age group, I've known one person.
You know one guy, and that guy's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying is, I give you one finger, and I rest my case. There's one guy among all the guys you knew who only work for one company because he is probably an A player, but he's a B mentality. He's there. Yeah. He's always consistent. But that guy, like you even told me, he is very consistent and very responsible.
Oh yeah, that's why he was my best man.
Very responsible. But I'm talking about is how many people has that kind of a temperament.
He was like a dad when you were like 10 years when he was like 10 years old. I mean, like he's been a dad his whole life.
I'm talking about that is a rarity, don't you think?
It also is an A player. Yeah, probably. I mean, I would agree. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't necessarily know the total. The total.
But I'm just saying, giving the example of your personal circles. There's only one guy, right?
Well, yeah, but you don't want entrepreneurial bees in a beehive. Like that's not what you want.
I'm not talking about entrepreneurial bees. You can talk about like, hey, somebody who is good at sales process. Somebody's good at doing the programming or the setting up of infrastructures or whatever, right? Somebody's good at something, but you go in there and tell them how to do it. Like the thing that gets me that I'm a technical guy, right? If you are fucking like VP of vice president of engineering or CTO, right? You come in, you tell me, oh, you should put triggers on your database, right? It's like, look, it shows me that you're dumb, okay? Because the thing is, that's the worst thing you can ever do. But that's what you want everybody to do, because you come in and certainly, I mean, they like some companies just hire like a VP of engineer, and he comes in and say, everybody use trigger, because he knows shit about doing the technical stuff, but he doesn't know. And what he told me is probably the worst thing anyone can do, and that just shows, that just exposes your.
Well, when you're a leader, you're no longer a doer. I mean, like you can't be a doer.
But if you're no longer a doer, you're not in the trenches. So how do you know what's good or what's bad? But then
you don't. I mean, like
you abuse your authority by forcing people to follow you in a stupid idea of, okay, you do this. This is like archaic, right? To me, it's archaic. It's going to blow up the system. You have never done a full-blown enterprise system, and that's going to break everything, right? Because you can't use it. It's not optimal. And that's what they want you to do That's what he wants you to do whenever he comes in. And so the thing is, it shows you his level of dumbness, right
Well,
from the get-go.
it's dumb to come in as thinking you're the smartest person in the room because you're the leader. Like that's dumb. Like, you know, I agree with that 100%.
But
That's
that's
not a
what
leader. Like,
that's my
you know,
point is that's my point. And that is what companies do though. They
right.
bring in somebody as a VP, give him this power of leadership,
Oh
this
yeah, it happens all
power
the time in
of
sales.
power
Yeah.
to say, well, I want to change directions, right? You change directions, right? The thing is, you can't change direction by yourself. Just like, hey, oh, I come in and as a Navy captain, right? I'm going to Navy captain. I say, I want you to turn the ship around. Without the guy working on the ship, do you think I can turn the ship around? If everybody say no, I'm not listening to you. Do you think that me as a captain can turn the ship around? I
No, of
need the
course not.
guy to understand
Right.
what I want and then and follow me to say, hey, because
Right.
it takes a whole fucking team to turn a ship around. So the
Right.
same thing in the company is the same way it works. Is that you have to understand how each of these players play their role and understand what they need to do, and then that is your skill. That's a job of the VP. It's not to tell
Yep.
you how to do the
Let's get the
technical
right people in
thing.
the
That's
right
why
seat on the right bus.
you hire
Right.
this guy to go
Right.
and do this technical stuff. That's what he does. That's what he know. Like for me, is I don't want to deal with people, right? Doesn't mean I can't build a software. I can build it, but I don't like to deal with people, right? So I'd rather not take a charge of this because I know, even though I know how to do it, I still need the other
You don't
guys
like it. It's fine.
to be
It's not
part
a
of the
beaver less
team,
name activity. Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To be part of the team. So I know that it's a team effort. So,
Right.
but at the same time, right? At the same time, I don't want to be the guy who's going to be like, organizing or orchestrating and coordinating all these things with a bunch of people. That's not my job. And I don't like to do that. But the thing
Right.
is, when you come in and you say, well, instead of doing the job that I don't want to do, which I happily give it to you to do, you go in there and try to do my job and tell me, hey, you should do it this way because I've seen somebody done it before.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree.
And to
That's a
me,
bad
that
leader.
is basically you drive away the A and the guy who's actually knows how to save your ass. The guy who's
I
gonna save
totally
your
agree.
ass, you basically drive him away. They drove you away from HC1.
Oh yeah.
You,
No, I mean, what
I
drove
mean, the
me
thing is,
away?
what
What
bullshit
what
is that? It's like you
what
just come in here like for 3-4 weeks and you tell this guy who's been here for 4 years, like, oh, you can't do that. I mean, did you even
he did.
ascertain what the situation is from all parties, not just from one person's perspective?
So, so it wasn't just that. That was the So it's a funny thing because, okay, so when this guy started, I said to him initially, I was like, Scott, I can't. I'm so excited. He was actually hired to honestly, the program that I was running um uh um was an experimental important partnership that we were working on with this company that was totally experimental, and we were trying to see if we can get it to work. His skill set, he was hired to help me to get this thing to be successful, right? I've been working on this for like 6 months now. This guy was like completely building this from scratch, doing the entire go to market launch. This guy was supposed to be like my savior coming in and showing me the way because he was like one of the world's foremost experts on this particular topic, right? Of that nobody else had this experience. That's why the CEO hired this guy and put him. I was reporting directly to the CEO, and then I was reporting to this guy. I shit you not, he comes in there from day one, and I was like, Scott, I'm so happy to have you here. I was like, I can't wait to learn everything about your experience. Like, show you everything that we've done. Like, let's collaborate. Blah 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 blah. It's like I'd love to get to know you. Like, let's schedule some time to connect. Blah, anything, right? And every single time the first week that he came in, he let go of like 4 people, right? He was like, oh, these people are gone. Obviously, I didn't get let go of because I was in a really key role and I was doing a really good job and everything was fine. And I went to Scott after this and I was like, Scott, it's been a couple weeks. I was like, when can we connect and like to talk? I just really want to get to know what your goals are, what your vision is. Like introduce you to myself and like how we can better collaborate. And he was like, yeah, I'll get to it. So I think he was there. Actually, I apologize. I think he had been there for like 2 months now. So a month goes by and I haven't heard anything from him. And I'm like, Scott, Like I'm on a fucking island over here. I've been working my ass off on an island for 6 months on this project, trying to just figure anything out. And you're supposed to be my savior, and you're not communicating with me. This is what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, all I'm asking you for is one fucking one-on-one with my direct boss, like of a brand new company, of a key role that you're supposed to be helping me, like, do whatever I need to do. And I reached out to him again, and I was like, Scott, like, are we gonna meet? Like, and he was like, Chris, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what I've had orientation meetings with the team. He's like, I don't know what you want to meet about necessarily. I mean, I don't know what else I could tell you about my life or whatever. And I'm like, well, don't you want to learn about me and like what's important to me and how I work and like how we can better. And he was like, no, I think we'll figure it out as we go. And like blah blah blah. Anyway, this is like 2 months in, right? So and I'm like, okay, this is fucking weird. I'm like, why you don't even want to talk to your employees? Like, this is fucking bizarre, minus your little stupid team meetings that you would have. So uh he had this thing when he would every team meeting that we had. I mean, we're not talking a huge team, right? It's like a team of like 7 of us. Every team meeting that he would have, he would if anybody was like a 10 seconds, like a 1 second late, he would call them out like as they walked into the room, like, oh, somebody so blah 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 blah. It's got too many things to do. Like, he would literally, like, I don't know if he was joking or if he was just being a dick or what, but he would always do this.
It
He never
doesn't
did it
matter
to
if
me.
he's joking or not. It's not his place to say.
Well, it's not, even if it is, like, he has built no rapport with anybody on the team. He has no trust, whatever. And he and I took
I
a
mean,
two
if he
business
wants to
trips
keep
together.
them, he should not say it, regardless of whether it's a joke or not.
Agreed. So he keeps doing this over and over and over again for every team meeting that we're in. Right now he's been here for about 2 months. And this is the week before this other incident that happened. Where he calls me into his office
Hmm.
about my going to to work out kind of thing. So it's a Friday before this, and he schedules this team meeting on like Friday early in the morning for everybody to get there. And it was like super early in the morning or whatever that he scheduled this meeting, and he was like, had made a big to do about it. And he had us do like a bunch of pre-work for it, and he had all this other stuff. The whole team is in there, all the sales, all the marketing, all the solutions engineers and solutions consultant. We had a team of like 20 people sitting in this room waiting for Scott to fucking come into the goddamn room. And it's now 9 o'clock and he's not there. It's now 9:15 and he's not there. It's now 9:30 and he's not there. We're all just literally sitting there, like with our laptops open, just like going, all right, I don't know. Are we gonna have this meeting? I don't know. No communication from the guy, no whatever. So I said, hey, this is what Scott always tells. It makes fun. If we're not, this is the culture that he wants to build. I was like, if we're not here, we should give him shit and say, well, I'm getting up and walking out because this is what you do in our meetings, and you give everybody shit. So I just make it a point because I was clearly not liking this guy and how he was engaging with everybody. I was like, I made a point to everybody and be like, I'm leaving the room because Scott would leave the room and he would tell this is exactly what you guys want to do and this is what he's been treating us all. And everybody's like, yeah, you're right, but I'm gonna probably stay in here just because I don't want to get in trouble. So I was like, fuck you guys. I'm not
Well,
gonna
that's
deal
what
with
I'm
this guy's
saying is,
hypocrisy.
you
Right.
talking
So,
about. That's what I'm saying is, how many A players are there in the room?
I mean, most of the team was an A player, to be honest with you. I mean, like, because it was a very
Mhm.
small company and they were all very
Well,
good at what they were
I
doing.
beg to
Most of
differ.
them were. Yeah.
I beg to differ.
Well,
Right? Inside of a
fair enough.
company,
Yeah.
there's maximum 10%. I don't.
All right.
Maybe
Well, at least 10% of those, at least 10% of that room was an A player. I mean, let's just say that, but it's kind of irrelevant at that point in time. Like, I was just literally this guy was getting on my nerves, and I hate hypocrites, right? So like, this dude was a fucking
What I'm
hypocrite.
saying
Like
is, like, the A player, right? They have different tendency, right? Some guy would say, well, I'm not gonna make a scene out of it like you do, like I would do. But some guys say, well,
I didn't make
I'll
a
go.
scene out of it. I just said
But
I just said, hey, this is what he
but
said.
you are
This is how
making a
he
scene.
behaved, and I'm talking
You are
out.
making it known. You are making known
That's
the
true.
A player, the most A player, you won't even know why they leave. They say, well, I just have, I just,
I got shit
it's
to
my family, my family,
right.
needs me, right? This is what you're saying is, however you know how they do those exit interview. That's a bunch of bull crap. Nobody's
It
gonna tell
is
you the
no
truth, right?
yeah. Like so
And so the you lose A player because of how you treat people, and you treat people like that because everything has a level of alignment, right?
oh
You
yeah.
have to align because the thing is, if you just like that, for example, if we had to go into the military and go fight, some aliens, some demons, whatever, right?
Right.
I mean, the guy who's gonna lead you, because it's life and death situation, and if the guy's an idiot, would you go follow him? Or are you trying to go and and find an excuse to go find a leader that you actually will go fight under, so that you're gonna get shot yourself. You think about
Of
it.
course. Yeah,
You
yeah,
were assigned to this platoon, right? And this
yeah.
guy's an idiot, right?
He's
He's
a
probably gonna get
dickhead.
everybody killed, right?
Yeah. Oh
Would
yeah.
you stay with him? Would
Fuck
you
no.
stay with him and say, okay, I'll be blah blah blah, right? Only a
I'm not.
dumbass would stay. An
Right.
A player would say, well, he didn't get us killed, so I'm not gonna tell him to his face,
Right.
but I'm going to make an excuse. Say, well, I like this aspect of this over here, where this general or this, this
Yeah.
commander is running. I want to transfer
I
over to
can.
that one, and I will fight. But I will fight for a guy that I believe in, and a guy that is knows something. At least has the same belief that I have, for one,
Right.
or is a guy who I look up to.
Yep.
Most that
I
is,
agree.
I mean, you go back to the primitive, conditions. Like, we have to work with somebody who we can look up to, or who we have alignment with, right?
Right.
You and I
Yep.
can we can go out to the battlefield together, because you and I have the same alignment, and I can go and we'll fight for somebody who I look up to, because I haven't got to his level yet. He is even better than me in terms of his mental fortitude and his temperament or whatever. I will follow him because there's something that is greater than me. You think about that as human nature. It's human primitive. So in workforce, the same way, and you don't see that an A player is going to leave because of this incident, but it is, and they're not going to tell you. Most A players not going to tell you. Only you, like, you have the tendency to speak your minds, and I do too, right? I do
Right.
too, but I see that most good A player, and even better A player than us, their temperament is of, okay, I'm gonna disappear I'm gonna fade into the background, and you don't know why. You're
Yeah.
gonna
I'll take your.
die. I mean,
I'll
that
take your
guy's
shit,
gonna
but I'm not
kill
gonna tell
you.
you. Yeah.
He
Right.
kill you.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're dead because he kill you.
Right.
That is what
Yeah.
A players do. You don't
Yeah.
know. That's what I'm saying is, you think that, the player is going to know, but you're not there. But I'm saying inside of any particular group, there's only 10% of A players.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really argue with anything you're saying, to be honest with you. Like, I think for me in particular, like at that particular company, in the 4 years that I worked there, I think I had like seven, no joke. There were seven VPs of sales that came and went within that organization, right?
That's what I'm
Clearly,
saying
the
is
organization.
you putting a poisonous,
Well,
person in
well,
there
no, but
is
actually,
going
no, no.
is going to
But
see.
hang on. There's an important caveat here. Every one of those other people that came and went, I would work for them again. It wasn't their fault why the company was failing, right? This guy was like the seventh of the seventh guy that came in that I was directly reporting to. That I was like, okay, like I could immediately could see like this guy is not in alignment with myself, with the organization, with what we're trying to do. Like it like I've gotten good enough in my life to be able to understand and see when I know who I'm going to be able to work with and who I'm not going to be able to work with. And I instantly knew after this guy rebuffed me wanting to even get to know me. Like I was like, okay, like clearly like we're not going to ever connect. And then when he kept doing his bullshit, like I got to the point in time where I was like, I'm not going to take this hypocrisy, from this dude, and let him walk around this place like he fucking matters, like, because he doesn't. Like, I mean, I just didn't want him to treat other people the way that he was treating people. I didn't want to be treated the way that he was treating me. And then not only that, like he didn't even understand the culture that was even being built at this company. So it was like there's no alignment. Talk about alignment. There was zero alignment that was going on with anything that was, and I could immediately see it. It was like one of those situations where when's the right time to fire somebody, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the first time you think about it. And I thought the first time when he called me into the office and he said that to me, and I was
What's
like,
the
I
right
didn't
time
say
to
anything
quit?
to him. I was like, this is, you clearly don't understand. And I was like, this is my time to quit. I just like walked over. I've never done anything like that in my life, where I've just been like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. I mean, to be fair, this wasn't all in a vacuum. Like Salesforce had already offered me a job actually, and I wasn't planning on taking it, but like I was like I was in the middle of launching Sportly. I was like, you know what, like probably fair to not do this here in a leadership role that I was in at that company that I was at, and I think this is a better option to go to just exit this whole situation right here and now. I know but I've never been more definitive in my career ever about making a move to a place or to not make a move to another place. Like there was no wishy-washy. I was just staring this
But
guy
that's
right
what
in
I'm
the
saying
face
is one
going,
guy could change
yep.
the pivot of a company, because
Oh yeah.
it changed yours.
Right.
right? Because what would have become of the company if you had stayed? Because you never intended to leave until
Oh,
that
the
guy
place is
came in,
full.
and then you say, "Well, I'm leaving." You didn't think about leaving until he comes, and so he
Yeah,
has changed the course of the career of the company
he did.
in a
I
way.
mean, and he actually a lot of people like he did. A
Exactly.
lot of
That's what
people
I'm
left
saying
because
is
this
a
guy.
lot of
You know,
people
I mean,
have left,
yeah,
but that's what I'm saying is you didn't know because of that guy, but
right.
in reality, it's because of that guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, it was. I mean,
I mean
like
that's what I'm
people
saying is
leave
that
managers.
most of the guys that A players, they're not gonna do what you did. Like, hey, I'm going to tell the HR VP that I'm going to leave because this guy sucks, right? They can say, well, I have I decided to move, or my wife has some other
Right.
opportunities and I need to support her. Blah blah. It's just an excuse. I mean, like I say, the majority of these other players, they are not gonna let you know, right?
Well,
So it's
that's a
not
shame
it's
because
not about, this is what we were saying before, is it's better to spend 30 minutes in somebody's house than spend 5 years of him telling you what he is and how he is and blah blah blah,
right.
right?
I agree.
It's not even equates. It doesn't equate at all, and not even like closely remotely equal. And so
So
I'm saying is people have all this exit interview and blah blah blah, like you take all that, that's basically garbage.
right, I agree. I mean, it's people people like people. I mean, I don't want to make enemies of people. Like I genuinely want anybody that comes across me to feel like we had a positive interaction, with whatever interactions we're having. So I don't. I mean that was not easy for me to like to basically say, hey, you suck. Like I don't want to be around people that suck. And I don't have to. So I'm out of here. But like, hang on a second. So we're totally off base on the whole siesta thing.
I know.
We started down a corporate tangent, but like I did want to take this.
It's all about your nap room. I mean, yeah, it veered off from the nap room incident.
It is, yeah, the nap, yeah. So
Uh,
I just want to finish the reflection really fast because we're kind of out of time now. But so here's the thing is when your elephant is telling you to be tired, like then you're tired, and address that, right? Like this is the moral of the story, what I was getting to, and it reminded me of uh siestas, right? Like siestas have been a thing for a millennia, like it's because people listened before our time. There was a lot of people that actually listened to their biological clock, which as we learned in the book When the secret science of perfect timing by Daniel Pink, that is a natural trough in our day and a lot of people's
mhm.
cycles. It is a natural trough that happens to every single person almost every single day. And like the modern day world has told us power through, and honestly it's worse. We do worse. We do worse work. We're unhappy. We're frustrated. We get more stressed out. We get, like when you get less.
I mean,
Anyway, there's so
and
many.
your lifespan getting shorter.
And your lifespan gets short, right? So like actually there was, you remember that other stat that we heard, the lowest person on the ladder at a company has like a like, I can't remember what the multiplier is, but it's like a large multiplier over like the VPs and higher ups of an organization of like of heart disease and heart attacks and chronic stress, related incidents, because of exactly situations like what we're talking about. You get into, you feel like you're forced to like power through and not sleep, and you get more stressed, you get more panicked, you have more, sleep deprivation, all these negative things that end up, why we sleep, right? That whole book, this all ties
Mhm.
into a lot of different things, right? So so for me, this book was a great reminder of that 2:30 feeling still exists for me every single day. And it's never gonna not exist for me, probably. So this particular month that I wrote this reflection was June 2023. So I decided to make my monthly challenge. I'm gonna try to take a siesta every single day, where I just go take a nap in the middle of the day,
Well,
around like 2:30.
I don't think that's how you
And
should do it, though. I mean,
what it was a
it's
challenge. I mean, it was hard. It was hard to break the
well,
corporate.
this is what I'm saying is a challenge is a challenge. Okay, a
It is a
challenge means
challenge.
you're forcing yourself to sleep.
I was forcing myself to stop because that is not what I've been told to do.
But you can't force yourself to stop either. The thing is, in my experience, what I'm saying is, in my experience, it's like you can't force yourself to do anything. If you do that, your body is going to react to it, and you're going to have stress. Because
Oh yeah.
let's say, hey, Chris, I need you to go sleep, take a nap every day at 1:30, right? Exactly on a dot at 1:30, right? You can even give somebody some kind of a perks like that, and it's still gonna
Right.
stress them out because
I agree.
that's not human works. The
Right.
way
Right.
human body works is
You
like,
can't
okay,
just snap and go to
I-
sleep. Yeah.
when I want to, then it's reward. If I don't
Yes.
want to, it doesn't matter what it. Hey, I give you this fucking Ferrari, Chris.
Right.
Right? You have to drive it. You have to drive it. Right? It's stress to you.
I
That's what I'm saying. Is for
I agree.
me, it's like the key, in my opinion, in my world, according to True, the key
Quite true.
is to remove the constraint you have on yourself and
Right.
let your elephant do. Because for me, it's like, okay, when I'm
Just
tired,
listen to your elephant.
I go sleep. When I'm tired, I'm not. I'm not gonna
Right.
say, oh, I'm gonna take this 30-day challenge. I'm gonna sleep, take a siesta at 1:30 or whatever.
It didn't work,
You're gonna
by the
stress
way.
yourself
It
out,
was
right?
it was
Because
really hard. Yeah.
sometimes you don't need to. You don't need
I
to take a siesta. But the thing
it,
is,
it was hard.
whenever you are putting yourself into some kind of mechanical patterns, right? That is not in tune with your being. Your being
Right.
has a pattern. The elephant has a pattern. There's a pattern he goes into, right? That he goes into. So remove the constraint. Let it does what it needs to do. That means that
Right.
you need to remove the constraint even from your conscious mind to say, well, I need to take a nap or I don't need to take a nap, whatever. I said, hey, look, whatever. That's what I do. Is whenever I'm tired, I go lay down. And sometimes I take a nap.
That's the
Sometimes
right thing to do.
I would lay down for 15 minutes and I get up and I have energy again. So
Right.
that to me, that is to remove the constraint, not putting on another set of constraint. Because
I agree.
whenever you go, you challenge yourself, you put on another constraint. Say, hey, you go opposite.
I agree.
I want you to eat cake
I-
all day long, every day from now until the end of the month, right?
I
That is
agree.
another constraint. That's another, putting your own, imaginary gun onto your head and making you do the things. To me, that is still a wrong way to do it.
I totally agree with you. I'm not the challenge failed miserably. Like it was not easy. I can't just snap my fingers and stop and go sleep. You're right. Like I made it more complicated than what it is. The answer is what you said is listen to your elephant. When you're tired, sleep, and when you're not tired,
Right.
then keep going.
So the hypothesis is this: every single person has their own patterns, have their own wavelength. You're gonna have to align with that wavelength. As long as you align with that wavelength, it's going to like balance out your stuff. It's not about putting in structures because you can never ever going to match the patterns of your frequency perfectly because it's so complex. So how can you say, well, I have limited exposure and limit purview of blah blah blah, but I can match your wavelength perfectly, right? Whatever,
Right.
just like trying to match the tides of the ocean.
Yep.
You think about the tides of the ocean. That is how complex your body are. That's how complex your
Yeah.
elephant is. So you cannot match it. You just let it flow. Just let it flow. Because if you say, well, I'm going to create a little ship that will match the wave of every single ocean current, ocean wave on there, that is what you're trying to do whenever you say, how I'm going to make myself sleep. And you make myself have a siesta, make myself eat a cake, right? You can't do it. It's not possible. So
I
the
agree.
best way to do is to remove the constraint.
Listen to your elephant and just go with the flow. Be water, right? Be
water, my
right?
friend.
Yeah. All right. I feel like that's a good place to end it on. I know we went all over the place on that one, but the question we can leave for everybody, but that's why these are fun conversations. The question we can leave for everybody is what do you do when that 2:30 feeling hits?
I do whatever.
Listen to your elephant is the answer. It should be. It should be take a fucking nap. Anyway, thanks for joining. Any final thoughts?
Yes, take a nap whenever you feel like taking a nap. Don't force it.
Agreed. It's not that hard, right?
Yeah, because sometimes like the thing is, you think you're going to take the whole. My experience. This is what happened, right? My experience. The first time you're going to take it because you have conditioned yourself to go for a long period of time. You can take 3 hours. And you can not for 3 hours. Like certainly, like you go to sleep at 2:30 and you woke up at 6 p.m. But eventually, you get to the point where your body is like good at. You lie down for 15 minutes and you wake up. It's like okay, like as long as you don't have constraint, your body is not gonna stay in that sleep. It's gonna wake up. So for me, it's like like when I get tired, I lie down. But maximum, I probably lay down for like an hour. But
Right.
usually, like
I
I
agree.
will
I
get
mean,
up
it's
in 15 minutes.
my midday. If I take a midday nap ever, it's usually super quick because my body doesn't like let me sleep that long because that's not how my circadian rhythm is. But if I needed a nap, I need a nap. I mean, like, and you
Just
just
need
got to
enough to
listen,
slow
you
down.
know? Yeah. Right. Yeah. I agree. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining everyone. And we will see you tomorrow. And man, I really got to put these in a blog post or something because these are really annoying to read this off of a Word doc.
It's probably
But
annoying for
anyway.
people that are watching either.
Right. Yeah. It's not a good situation here, but whatever. We'll figure it out. All right. Thanks for
All
joining
right.
and have a good one. See ya.
Good night.